Woohoo! Dude, there was I don't mean to interrupt, but there was zero special reveal or anything. We popped down with Jiho's face in there. We got to work on our lead in. But Jiho, welcome, man. It's good to have you back. It's been a couple episodes, so nice to see your face again.
What up? What up? Yeah, thanks for having me. It's an honor. It's a pleasure.
Pleasure's
Yeah,
all
I'm
ours.
excited.
Cool, man. Well, I know it's just morning time there. You were just waking up. So thanks for making us a priority. Again, a lot's been going on in the space. Just I feel like overall crypto in general has just been experiencing massive boom over the last couple weeks. NFTs have been getting a lot of mainstream attention. Some pretty big figureheads that have been bringing people in. Maybe not in the way that we would like, but introducing people to the concept at least, which is really interesting. So certainly, I think we're growing. Axie's growing. Looked like you had something you wanted to say there, so feel free to jump in.
Yeah, yeah.
Go, man.
Oh no. Yeah. So I mean what we're seeing is, I think a lot of us have been here for a long time. We've always believed in the fundamentals, but the pumpamentals are starting to also improve.
Yeah.
Where you have these celebrities, you have these massive billionaires coming in, talking about NFTs, saying that they're going to make some big announcements. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what's happening. Christie's is now in the game, right? And it was something that I predicted and made in my 2021 predictions. It's already happened, less than 90 days later, or less than 60 days later. So yeah, we just hit a day, the most unique viewers of AxieInfinity.com was yesterday. So we're back on a growth trend. It's amazing. It's crazy. Even despite the high gas, that it seems like growth is starting to go parabolic again. Actually, so yeah, it's mind-boggling and it's exciting and
That's
it's
awesome.
happening.
Dude, that is so cool. Yeah, I saw on Twitter you gave us some of the information. There was cool information about the server. We'll hit that in a minute too. But yeah, freaking awesome stuff. Despite gas, Axie is continuing to rocket off. It's so awesome. It's so cool what's happening with the different tokens too. We're seeing just a lot of excitement. It's interesting how SLP really makes a big difference in the excitement level of the community, and I think it just comes right back to that play to earn component, right?
I mean, the whole thing here is
Yeah, definitely. I
utility, right?
mean,
This is sorry, Jiho, but this is one of the big reasons that people are interested in Axie over some of the other projects is utility. We've got these cute digital pets. We've got this multifaceted game and more to come. But being able to actually use your assets and potentially bring in income is a huge benefit to this ecosystem. So obviously, when the tokens are doing well, everybody gets excited.
Oh hell yeah!
I think, yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone can easily, everyone can earn SLP by playing Axie, so it has a big effect on our growth rate, and it's a way to subsidize the gas costs as well, right? It's as right now, SLP is like 5 cents, right? So it's like, I mean, so it means each battle you're earning like 40 cents. So then it's like, right? So it's like 5 times 7. It's like 35 cents. So that means that like if you're winning, you know, 10 battles an hour, then you're making $4 an hour, and the 10 is really doable.
Oh yeah!
So that's not child's play.
No, and then
Um,
with the daily and the PVE, yeah, it's especially in some areas that's back to getting some real income. So it's freaking, I love it when it's this way, and I hope it continues for sure. And oh man, hype train, right on. Thank you, landfill, so cool. BA and Britt have to shout you guys out too, but we're so very grateful that Jiho's on with us today. Excited to see what he can share with us. I never got a chance to tune into the whale chat that you had. Can you give us maybe a summary of what you went over with them, Jiho?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be on YouTube, but, whale community is pretty interesting. There are people who kind of, live in that Discord as well. They like talk to earn, I guess. So, that's a really interesting community. So yeah, I was just in there sharing our vision, answering some questions about, things like Ronin Phase 2, free to play Axies, how we look and balance the in-game economy, what I'm most excited about. Yeah, a little bit about like the access token, the governance, the community treasury, the value accrual. So yeah, overall it was a good time. Yeah, thanks to the whale community for having me.
Yeah, that was super awesome. I'm excited to tune into that once it's available on YouTube. So it's going to be a great listen. I know. I love hearing what's going on. Every time you speak, it seems like you drop little hints here and there. So we're gonna try to see if you can
I
do
try
that
and
today.
I try and amuse myself, and I try and amuse the audience. It's mostly about myself.
Well, that's good. So all three of us, it's mostly about ourselves. Each one of us on this little Axie Chat, this little episode. So it'll be fun to see which ego prevails. Okay, let's see. So the marketplace, we can go through this kind of quickly, but Jiho, I just want to make space for you, whatever you want to talk about. But here we are,
No, just
Axis.
go about your normal thing, and I'll comment randomly whenever
Sweet,
I
I love it.
feel the urge.
So, and again, I don't know if you were able to tune in too much. I know I saw you a little bit last week, but we kind of teed it up to talk about rare Axies, and I mean, you're the man. Both you and Enjoi actually know all the ins and outs of rare Axies, so we'll talk about those. But Axis has been on a tear. So awesome to see what Axis has been doing. It was up at it was almost to $2.50, right? Maybe it even hit that a couple times. I'm not sure, but it was just incredible to see it spiking up. It's tapered off a little bit, but it feels like it's ready to live in the $2 range. I don't know.
And I was looking back. Jiho, when did Access launch? In October? End of October? Is that right? November, maybe?
November 6th. It was like it was the day of the election, right? So
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's
right.
right.
Yeah, yeah. It threw a lot of people off the track. But yeah, I mean, we launched around 10 cents, and kind of hovered around 20 or 30 for a long time. And I think it took a lot of people to see the vision. Some of the hardcore community members obviously jumped in, but now there's this focus in the space about it's very similar with NFTs and play to earn. It's a focus of what is this token actually going to do for me. It's not just holding a piece of some random project. There's so many different benefits to holding access, between the Axie score and potentially getting drops weekly, or taking part in treasury, or being able to stake it and get returns that way. So there's a lot of different aspects that I think it took people a while to catch on to. And honestly, people held in this community. It's not like people were selling. So I think some of these floors just kind of built up over time.
yeah, I mean, it's also right. It's just the market, like it's been going up with like these alt waves, right? So it's like behaving like a DeFi coin at first, and now it's kind of like, okay, it looks like NFT coins, NFT tokens, all go up at the same time now as well. And
Right.
there's this major wave of interest in NFTs because people like Gary V, right, Chamath, you know, Mark Cuban are all talking about NFTs, right? These are not like celebs that tweet about stuff at the top. These are the guys who are early to the internet,
Sure.
or in Chamath's case, right? Just and very influential investor who was early to Bitcoin is now just getting into Ethereum and NFTs. So.
And Y2 in the chat makes a good point too. I mean, just wait till we actually have the Axis staking. We actually have some of the tokenomics that go along with the Axis, and how it's going to go on a tear at that point. And I feel like that's coming soon. I mean, I know what the roadmap says, and I mean, do you feel like we're pretty much on track with the roadmap still, Jiho, as far as staking and so forth, or can you really even say?
Yeah. So what I'll say is we're in the design phase for the for the dashboard. Like
Oh
none of
yeah.
the current staking dashboards out there are that great, to be honest. So this is a case of, okay, we have to look at like what's good, what's at least the best on the market, and then we have to figure out how can we, improve on this and make it better. So we're in the design phase. For that, it's very important. It's, something that yeah, I'm watching internally and guiding. So yeah, that's what I'll say about that. I'll also say that it's not a coincidence, right? That I think we also had, okay, the $1.5 million land sale that drove massive interest in Axie, but then also we had the launch of Sushi Axis Weth, right, or
Yeah.
Axis ETH stake kind of deposits, right? And that pool is like yielding 100% in Sushi. And Sushi is launching a grayscale trust soon. I don't know if you guys know about that.
Oh.
But so and Mark Cuban has been talking about Sushi. So Sushi is real. It's a legitimate like DeFi platform, and they're in some ways like really much more aggressive than Uniswap in terms of like collaborating with other communities, and I think that's one of their strengths.
Sure.
So basically, yeah. Anyways, so like what I'm saying is that yeah, staking is going to be great, but there's a lot you can do with your access tokens right now as well in terms of locking them up for some rewards.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially if the community treasury ends up holding a lot of access. Maybe that provides some additional utility depending on how the DAO votes, um, and how to use the
Yeah,
treasury.
yeah, that's definitely right. That's definitely an interesting feature where okay, does the the treasury, the holders could vote for the treasury to be put in something like that, right? And then imagine, yeah, like you have a huge treasury generating huge rewards, and we could use that for different things, right? It could be those rewards could be sent to the stakers, but they could also be used for things to grow the ecosystem even faster. Sometimes the best investment
Right.
is not to pay yourself; it's to invest in the growth of your company. When the entire community owns the game, right, then it might make sense to delay some gratification.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's just been so exciting to see Axis on a tear. Feels like it's headed up. I saw on Twitter that there was a guessing contest, right, for what Axis was going to hit at a certain point. Was it the end of this month? I can't remember exactly what it was, but my
Yeah, I think so.
but I
Yeah, I
already
have no
said
idea.
I already said $10, man. So
We'll hold you to it.
well,
If it's
I'm
not
not the
$10, I'm
We'll,
coming to
oracle.
we'll
your
see what
house.
happens. I mean,
We know who the
going
oracle
up is
is.
good, going down is good. I think it's all good,
Yeah,
right? Going
I
down
agree.
gives opportunities for everyone to get in,
Yep.
and going up obviously is never a bad thing. So
And not to
yeah,
mention, if you're staking on Uniswap or Sushi, you're earning more rewards the more volatility it has. If it's staying within that same kind of level, it's doing more work for your money.
yeah, true. I mean, I will say that if you're a liquidity provider, you do best when volume is high and volatility is low. It's kind of complex. It's due to impermanent loss. Where if if price volatility is really high, then you end up, owning one side of the pair more so
Right.
than the other, and it could end up like, okay, if Axis is like going up really quickly a lot, then it's basically like you would have made more by simply holding your Axis, because by liquidity providing, it's kind of like you're selling into that price movement, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's just a small disclaimer to that's also why liquidity providing on Sushi Swap is much preferable right now, because you get those extra sushi tokens, which you
Right.
can even, right, like you could claim them eventually and then buy more access to make up for the access tokens that you might have lost if the price goes up too much. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yep, it
Yeah.
does. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're actually getting some additional rewards other than just the reward from liquidity providing. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's look at this. Feels like a pretty big story. SLP back on the rise, and I've kind of been tracking week after week where SLP's been at on this chart, just because it's been such a ride. You know, I felt like it made sense in the 3.5 cents range USD, and then it felt to me like it got a little too cheap, which was fine by me because there's opportunities there. And then, it's been on a tear back up, and I'm not quite sure. I guess I don't know if it's sustainable or not at 5 cents. I like it being at 5 cents. Obviously, it's good for everybody. It's good for the community. It makes it a lot easier for people to invest into, onboarding into Axies and ownership of some Axies. And even I think the scholars are way happier that have those arrangements, because they're able to, really provide a little bit more and earn a little bit more. So I love it at this range. And, I guess I'm just really interested to see what the effect of Ronin's going to be once we get that phase 2 Ronin and Axies land on the Ronin chain. I think there's going to be some volatility. and I have some theories, but I just think, I think there's a big chance that onboarding's going to explode. At least that's been kind of my take on it. And if onboarding explodes, we may not see this big Axie price reduction that some people think we're going to see. I don't know.
No, my question is this running up over the last week just because the rest of crypto's been running up over the last week, and people are picking it up like they always have, just as we know this is associated with Axie Infinity, or is this running up because people anticipate the Axies finally hitting Ronin and being able to breed and preparing for that? Any thoughts? And Gio, a question.
I think it's just because people see that SLP is a NFT related small cap token. To be honest,
I think so too.
It's there's pumpamentals and there's fundamentals, and in this case, I think it's the pumpamentals of being an NFT related token. But stuff like that, we'll take it, right? Like it helps to grow. It helps to grow the community. And it helps the scholars, it helps the farmers, it helps mothers who are buying stuff for their babies. Like one thing that you guys should do is join the Philippines Facebook channel for Axie. Like they disallowed people from like posting piles of cash that they made from playing Axie. So now it's like, okay, you need to say thank you, Axie, for something that you were able to buy that was really like important to you. So awesome. It's really touching, right? It's like, instead of like people flashing cash, it's like, okay, like I bought this milk and diapers for my baby, and I bought this cell phone for my parents as a Lunar New Year gift, stuff like that. So it's really touching. I went in there and grabbed a bunch of them for this interview that I'm doing. But I also suggest that you guys check that out. And we're really, this is definitely a movement. It's far more than a game. It's already happening. The future is kind of crystal clear to me, I think to you guys. But it's still so much to go. And it's kind of truly mind-boggling.
It really is, and again, I feel like we're just at the beginning. I know that we don't have a whole lot of information about land play and how all that's gonna land. Forgive the pun. I swear I do that every time. But how that all plays out, it's going to be really interesting, because I just feel like we're going to be introducing a whole bunch of new tokens into the ecosystem, and it's going to be really interesting to see how all of that, how that interplay takes place. And I remember I asked Trung, like, so are we going to be able to earn small love potions from land play? And he didn't really want to answer that, so he didn't really give me a direct answer on that. But he
might not know.
Yeah. I mean, I asked him about like medium love potions and large love potions and all that type of stuff too. And it's just going to be interesting to see how ultimately the economics all play out when we have some additional tokens that are going to be derived from land play. Not to just mention even just the Axis that will potentially be received from land play too. All right. Okay,
I mean,
so
I think,
go
and
ahead.
we're already we're seeing, right, that the leaderboard rewards this season are getting pretty big, right? We're only giving out 10,000 access, but that's now 20,000, right?
Right.
And like, if you guys look at the allocations, right, like this entire ecosystem is gonna go insane. Why? Like, we have an ecosystem fund of like, crazy
54 million.
amounts. We have a play to earn.
Yep.
It's really a fund. It's a marketing budget for the ecosystem to supercharge growth. How much access is in there for the first year? It's 18 mil. That's like $35 million. And I
Yeah,
think,
it's
I guess like
crazy.
one way to look at that is that, okay, that's likely going to start, really emitting once you have some, utility and you can lock it up, right? So I think like the power combo, right, is like, okay, we have staking. We then have Battles V2 launch, right? We have extra incentives for Battle V2, right? So I think like what people are missing is that the idea of the play to earn budget and Battles V2 and staking, like these are all actually things that are kind of connected. And then also, right, like easy onboarding, social login. Like I just did that. Like I can now I can now test our Battles V2 without like doing anything related to the blockchain. And it's really fun.
Awesome.
We just got some really good feedback on it as well. It's looking super crisp. It's I think like, yeah, it's 10x better for me, personally.
I'm liking all these words you're spitting out. Jiho, I do have a question about something you just said regarding the budget for various rewards. Are you looking at, and maybe this isn't something you can share, maybe it's something that you guys haven't figured out yet. Are you looking at the total amount of access being split up for certain rewards over the course of the year, or are you looking at that in its US dollar, related pricing? I'm just curious, as the potential token price increases or decreases, does that change how that's budgeted?
No, we think in terms of percentages,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay,
Well,
like play to earn already has this percentage of the play to earn is this percentage of the pie, and then within play to earn we have different ideas about how that should be allocated between, right, things like leaderboard, land, other mini games, stuff like that.
right. And that's exactly why I'm asking, because right now, you've allocated 10,000 to this season, to the leaderboard. I'm curious, and I guess you just answered the question. If in 4 months, if it is at $10, like Baronar is guessing, is it still 10,000
1 month.
allocated towards the leaderboard rewards? Because
Yeah, I
that's
mean, so
huge.
right now, to be honest, the 10,000 is just because we have no staking, right? Like we don't want to be emitting massive amounts, like, right. So
Right.
I think like if we were to expand the leaderboard too, it might not be like that we're pumping up the rewards to the top 200. It's that we're,
Gotcha.
increasing it
Across the board.
vertically.
Well, and that's
I don't,
exciting too,
yeah.
because the more people we add to the
Yeah, I
community.
mean, right now, right, like most people, only 200 people care about access in
Right.
terms of play to earn. Why?
Right.
Because only 200 people are play to earning access, right? But
Right.
when you start to involve more of the ecosystem, then it's kind of like, yeah, you get the SLP effect, right? Where everyone, all the farmers, right, like a lot of the gamers, the actual players, they care about the access price. It's not just the hardcore believers.
Right.
So.
Cool.
So Pollution asked something that I hadn't even really thought about, but is the current battle system going to remain? I've always just assumed that Battles V2 is going to replace what we have right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's we it might, and we might run them in parallel for a little bit, but probably not. I think that would make it complex. We'll always have the old code base, so maybe like maybe in a distant future, it's like, okay,
Retro
it's a
game.
mini game or something that you can play, a retro, yeah, or retro
Right.
arcade artifact. Imagine if there was even auto
Auto
battles, right? Like
battles.
on land or
That'd be
something.
fun,
Auto
man.
battles like V1. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we'll always have the code base that we can always release to the public or something. But yeah, I mean, people, I'm sure that there's some people, everyone is like resistant to change, or like there's always people who are resistant to change. Like even when we moved from auto battles to the new battle system, some people like raged. So there are always people who are against progress.
They're nuts.
But we have to do what's best for the ecosystem in the long term. That's best for, the true hardcore believers. That's best for that's best for ourselves too, right? Like in terms of growing this thing and making it worth dedicating our entire lives to. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. And Battles V2 is looking really great. It's looking really polished, and it's looking like it's easy to get started. And I'm giving feedback. I'm making videos internally, and doing
Wow,
a
that
lot of
sounds close. I
things.
mean, that sounds like it's soon.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, it's in polishing or early testing. What I would say is, I mean, I can play it.
Wow.
It's good.
Yeah, you could show us.
Um,
You could show us you playing it if you.
Yeah, right now. We got time.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
wait.
we'll figure it out.
Question for the hardcore old school auto battle folk: is Bean's Blessing coming back?
oh.
Hmm.
Beans, we've talked about that. We talked about that recently, where it was yeah. We were gonna do something related to like the land migration, but it didn't end up happening.
All right, so we'll mark that down as a maybe.
He's just stopped speaking words. I like that a lot. That was awesome. Okay. All right. Well, so let's hit the WoW token real quick because it has been interesting. Again, this is one that seems to track right along with Ethereum. So I think that this basically means that people feel pretty comfortable with Origins having the floor right around the 1 ETH value. I don't know if that's going to change over time. I expect that it will. And I expect that it will fairly soon. I saw a different tweet that I really liked asking when Origin Axies exceed crypto punk floor. And I thought, yeah, that's awesome. And I can't remember what the answers were, but I like that a lot. And I do feel like Origins are, special. We'll talk more about Origins in a little bit. But this actually reflects kind of a drop off here. This 1650, that's actually down, and I think that's because Ethereum dropped a little bit, and so it actually.
Well, look at the ETH prices over time: 0.7, 0.8, 0.9. We're slowly trending up towards an ETH per WoW.
Yep.
And I think what that tells me, in watching the marketplace over the last couple weeks, the old school holders, they know what they have, they want to keep holding it. It just seems to be that, and new people coming in there, there's certainly some that are picking up and holding for the long term because they see the potential here. And this is something that we're going to talk about a lot more. You just mentioned punks because obviously they've been taking a lot of attention recently. So people see the same kind of potential with the rarity and the utility, which is added here. But yeah, I think less and less. There's going to be less, what's the word? Less float. There's going to be less liquidity here because less people are going to keep trading it on the marketplace. So as that happens, I think they're going to keep going up. The price is going to keep going up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that the rarity will drive it. I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Jiho.
With WoW, I mean, yeah, there's only 4,088 Origin Axies, right? It's quite an exclusive club that'll be able to actually ever own these things, especially as we hit millions of users. So yeah, that's all. That's all that I have to say. Is like the best thing for those is for the user base to grow over time, and for 4,088 people to be a very small percentage of the community. That's kind of like the ratio that makes the most effect, I guess, on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a great way for people who hold Origin Axies that have less than 2 or less breeds to access some liquidity, which is one of the big challenges of holding NFTs.
Yeah, there's also another fund, right? There's also another index from Niftex launching, I think this week as well. So there's going to be more liquidity. I don't know how much liquidity is in the WoW pool, It's pretty reliant on Coca for liquidity, if I recall correctly.
He put in like 300, yeah.
Yeah, whereas yeah, so I'm not sure I'm not sure how liquid it is. But yeah, there's also going to be an IFTX Origin Axie pool, a Mystic Axie pool, a double Mystic Axie pool that are coming in.
Yeah.
What is that dog? I see your dog.
That's what is my dog? I don't know. He's a rescue, but he's big and fluffy.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's awesome. It's a big shy baby.
He's so cute.
Yeah, he is. Holy cow.
I forgot what we were talking about, guys.
We were talking about
Origin Axies, NFT liquidity. But hey,
I
I wanted to show off this this Axie I pulled out of the pool, so I actually did unwrap this guy. So I love this one, man. Flower Power was its name. Anyway.
Flower Power, cute.
Yeah.
I was just gonna mention. So we've been talking about NIFTX for honestly the last couple of weeks because I think it's one of the most exciting things to be happening. I mean, WoW is I don't even want to call it a great first step because it's doing its job well. The interesting thing about NIFTX is now there's an organization behind this same concept that's going out and marketing, and Jiho mentioned about how Sushi's being aggressive with their partnerships and stuff. So NIFTX is partnered with Sushi Swap for more liquidity. And right now it's only Punk pools, but apparently we're going to get some Axie pools soon. But one of the biggest things that I personally think, one of the biggest reasons we've seen Punks grow over the last couple months is because of this pool growing up, because it takes a lot of the risk out of owning NFTs. If something happens, you're able to cash out immediately without really cutting down your price point, because it's always kind of tracking the floor. So for people who want to own wrapped origins, for people who want, or just I guess regular origins, for people who want to own mystics or double mystics, it takes a lot of the risk out while this is still an unproven market. At some point, I think holding a mystic's going to be like holding a freaking Mona Lisa in your house, like or under lock and key, obviously. But you can't sell that sort of stuff immediately, and this allows you to kind of trade out of it like you would just any other cryptocurrency. It's a big improvement in my opinion.
Heck yeah. Well, let's talk about the land market. I think it's really important. I wasn't able to pull the data on sales, but there's been a lot of sales actually. There's been kind of a resurgence of interest in Axie land, and it's been really, really good. I've noticed that there's been kind of a trend of, I don't know, maybe you'd call it upgrading land parcels, because again, you look at these multipliers from chess price. And if you can maybe move out of some savannas and into some others, I think that forest, the forest floor, I think it was BJ Axie. He had a group of them that were. I kind of wished somebody would have picked them up all together, and I considered it, but I have a little bit of land, so I didn't really want to just jump on it. But I think that's a good price for some forest. I think he had 5 or 6 of them actually on the floor there at that rate. That's not bad, especially if you're. I mean, look at the difference there as you look at today's date. The difference between a savanna plot and a forest plot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically 0.06 different, but you're getting 3 times as far as chess price, at least 3 times the value difference there. At least that's my understanding. That's what everybody said over and over, is that chess price is going to drive value return for these plots. And so, you just got to think about those things and maybe think about that in your decision-making process, where forests seem to be a pretty good deal right now.
Buying a forest plot right now.
Yeah. Jiho is right now. Is that what he just said?
That's what he said.
Yeah.
He's moving. He's gonna steal somebody's forest.
I mean, that's a good deal.
Your Ronin wallet doesn't work.
Your Ronin doesn't?
You
I know
say
it works because I bought something recently through Ronin. It worked great. The only thing that sucks still is, the gas fee to move in and out of Ronin, but I mean, that's what it is. It is what it is.
Listen,
Yeah, I mean,
I
in
keep
the future, right? It's like we'll most likely have like a DEX on Ronin, so you can swap into whatever you want on Ronin, and then maybe hook it Ronin up to. You could hook it up directly to different exchanges, like for example Binance, or you could hook it up to some other blockchain that already has an exchange integration, depending on how that unfolds.
Yeah, that would be
Cool.
beautiful.
Hey, quick question about
Like,
Ronin.
why do we move our stuff back to Ethereum? Is the question.
Well, I mean only if you're converting to fiat, right? I mean that's so I don't know, like to pay our bills if we're using this stuff to pay our bills. But I mean, if there's a direct out right off of the Ronin chain,
but how do we move to fiat? Right, is by like usually sending it to an exchange. So if you could send it directly from Ronin to an exchange, then you cut out the middleman.
That's my dream, Jiho. I just want to stay on Ronin and never worry about going off. That sounds good to me. But I may need a more.
The easier you make it to get off, this is something that Elon Musk once said, actually. The easier, he was talking about PayPal. It's like the easier you make it to get your money off, the more money just will sit. It's kind of counterintuitive.
Yeah, because there's no concern, there's no fear that you're not going to be able to get out of it, so you feel comfortable.
Yeah, like for me, like now, like okay, I might have, I'm like desperately trying to get all my money out of NBA Top Shot Dapper credits because it's like really hard to do it. Like if it was really easy, I could do it in one day at a click of a button. I might not be trying so hard to get it out, right?
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. I think that's exactly what Elon was telling us there. It's kind of funny. It feels like the reverse, but it's not. It's an economic reality that way. Again, looking at the floors here, things are in a great spot. Moving to Ronin, we had some of the, I think, just kind of inactive folks that had things for sale drop off. I have noticed that there's still a few people that are kind of waiting for that hardware integration. And I was going to ask you, Jiho, do you know, is there going to be, I'm kind of crossing my fingers that maybe they'll give us a one-time migration to a hardware wallet, kind of like the migration off of Loom, so that we can kind of in a one swift stroke move all of our assets to a hardware wallet? If that's not planned, maybe you could suggest that. That would be really nice.
I'm trying to think. Like, no, there's an easier way to do this, where so if you have a fresh Ronin wallet, right? You can import that phrase into a MetaMask wallet, and then import that MetaMask into, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, so just importing the Ronin phrase onto a Ronin wallet that's on a hardware that's a hardware. Okay, yeah, okay, yeah. I think so. I think it has. It's a different amount of keys, though. I think, but anyway, God, we're talking about really.
No.
Hey,
it's the same. It's the same thing, because if you send your it's like if someone sends money to their Ronin address on Ethereum, if all they have to do is use their Ronin key on MetaMask, and they'll get the money. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Yeah.
We use the same key phrase generation tool. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So,
yeah.
It does.
So it's like when you roll your Ronin address, you're also rolling an Ethereum address. So that Ethereum address is reserved for you, even if you're not using it, even if it's a fresh address that you only made for Ronin. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yep. Okay, well, I guess just ultimately, like, land is looking good, folks. And, we don't know for sure. Roadmap says we should have land gameplay by middle of the year. I feel like there's nothing that's telling us that we're off that track. Does that feel reasonable to you, Jiho?
Yeah, I mean, roadmap stuff is hard, is
Yeah.
hard. I think like the scope of land and what land will be just, increased a lot internally. That's, what we want is a huge like war battle system, like a land-based kingdom where,
Ooh,
you're teaming up with your friends, fighting over resources.
Wow.
So
That's
like
new.
what we saw is like during the demo, right? It's like all part of the demo is to figure out like what we should focus on. What people really liked is going out, like forming a huge group of Axies and like trying to do something together. It's like
right.
it's nice to like
Dang.
it's nice to take a picture, but clearly like what humans want when they form a huge group of these pets is to fight each other at a massive scale. So yeah, that's kind of the direction that's been taken internally, and that also, it's like once you have that clarification, then it's like okay, what are they battling over? They're battling over control of public resource nodes, things like that, right?
Ooh, I'm
Oh
liking where this is
man.
going, Jiho.
Oh
This is
my
better.
gosh.
So yeah, I mean,
Oh. What?
the what's it called? The demo was like nice. It was like, okay, like we can decorate. Okay, that works.
Yep.
Check. Resource harvesting. Okay, like we can't be clicking so much. But it's there. Check, right? Crafting, building. Okay, we have those building blocks. They're working. Okay, nice. And then okay, we can like socially hang out. Like what's next, right? And then it's clear that okay, like in order for this to be amazing, there needs to be like social battle elements where you're
Yeah.
teaming up to fight other people within the community, and then also like chimera and stuff like that. So, and then
Oh
Dude,
yeah,
my.
it's
that's
gonna be
awesome. I
interesting to
love it.
see. It's gonna be interesting to see like what the battle system looks like too. It's not, I don't think that it's gonna be like just having the current card based battle system, right? It's gonna be something more like RTS, right? Like I think this is how we're thinking through it at least. Is like something more like an RTS basically. Uh,
Wow.
so
Wow.
yeah, you can think of land as like maybe like a persistent RTS, resource gatherer, kingdom builder.
Guys, I just want to point out, if you're here for leaks, we don't have any tonight. You can go home. Nothing's happening. Come back next week. We'll see what we can do. No, this is awesome. I love that view of what things might look like. I feel like land's always been hazy, and for all I know, it still might be. But this is one of the cool things I think about this project and this team is you're evolving with what the community wants and what you think it needs. And I think that's really freaking cool.
Oh my god, a kingdom building game. Oh my god.
You just
Wow.
you just broke Baronar.
That's
Baronar's not going to sleep for another night.
that's
Um,
awesome.
I don't want to ruin the motion here, but just going back to these land prices again, I feel like we hit a little bit of a dip where coming out of it, NFTs are picking up. People are coming back into Axie. I mean, not that they left, but people are buying despite gas. Land prices are moving. Land is selling, which we had again maybe a month where there wasn't a whole lot of land selling. Land is coming up. Again, I don't want to keep pushing this, but once Ronin for comes out and is able, well, it's already out, but once Ronin is able to support Axies, marketing is going to be able to pick up a lot more people, coming in who couldn't afford the gas and all this other stuff. Breeding's going to pick up, things are going to pick up. I don't personally, and Jiho cannot agree with any of this. It's not financial advice, but I don't think that we're going to see these prices again anytime soon.
Yeah. No, I mean, but again, we've talked about it. Like as Ethereum rises, it's hard to measure exactly. We've never really had land reduce in value, even though the Ethereum price has gone down a little. When you look at the USD price, it's actually increased. It steadily has increased, and so now it's just starting to track back into the Ethereum prices that we've come to expect. I mean, you see these numbers, and for everything but forest. Well, Savannah too is pretty stacked at that floor amount, but Arctic and Mystic, like it's not much, and those prices go significantly up, like
Right.
like 50% higher than what you see right there. Like there's a really skinny floor there. So, we're really bullish on land. To be honest, hearing what Jiho's talking about as far as a potential kingdom battle, kingdom building style of implementation for Axie land, especially like, I don't know if this is well known, but one time you told me this, Jiho, that some of the designers have been watching the Titan anime, uh, and that kind of makes sense to me too a little bit, with the different walls and stuff. And anyway, that has me. I'm having a hard time even thinking and speaking because I'm trying to think about the ramifications of land ownership in that type of scenario, and I think that just becomes more valuable, frankly. So, yeah, wow, okay, yeah, Attack on Titan. Sorry, yeah, I kind of
Yeah, Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like when we first got like the thing from Masamune. It was like, okay, we're doing a land sale. Okay, and I'm like, what does this mean? And the Masamune came back with like a map, right? And then it's like, yeah, this is like, I was thinking about Attack on Titan. We're kind of like mind blown at that moment. So yeah. So yeah, I think like, the one idea, right, is that, okay, so the problem, okay, so like we can get a little bit like into some design space, right? So if we have a persistent kingdom building game with around social, guilds, what's the biggest risk? The biggest risk is that the system stabilizes too much to become fun, right? Like one dominant guild just takes over everything, and right. So basically, like you get the Pax Lunacia, right, which is not fun, right? Because so basically you have a stable civilization like with one overlord,
Right.
but that's not fun, like, right? That's just like real life. Um, so what do you need? Like you need like probably like chimeras to come in
yeah,
that are like so freaking strong that everyone needs to team up.
Yeah.
And then some alliance, right, might get more damaged or something, or have their power weakened by the chimera, so that then when things return to normal, then you have then the power dynamic has shifted, and you might go back to kind of a more equal war. Does that make sense?
There was
so.
there was an MMO.
It's like a natural disaster is needed, right? It's kind of like a natural disaster, or nature is needed to break up the hegemony.
Right.
Yeah. No, there's lots of good ways to do that, and like you kind of gave an inference to whether I'm sure there will be some battles, player versus player, but it's also just a great time to have kingdom building with player versus environment, like you were kind of mentioning, like big chimera battles coming to attack, wave upon wave type of thing. I mean, and again, finding ways to work together to generate the equipment or battlements or whatever it might be. Wow, that's just right up my. That's exciting. So hey, Genesis plots, amazing stuff.
We got Cloud Whites there right at the beginning for $172,860.75.
Yep. Just 100
Yeah,
ETH.
I mean, just last week, Danny sold 9 of these for $1.5 million at an average price of, what was it, about 100 ETH each? Am I wrong? 98, something like that. I don't know, man. I think I'm surprised that there's so few plots, or so many plots still up there. I understand if you want to get a little bit of money out, or diversify. A lot of these players have been here since the beginning, so it makes sense to potentially diversify a little bit. But I'm surprised that there's still so many that are that close to floor. We're seeing some major purchases in the NFT space. Again, $1.5 million last week. We've seen punks go and sell for, 650 ETH as well. I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens.
I mean, wasn't there some theorizing that Flying Falcon has some sort of Angry Birds connection or something like that? I don't know, but the only reason I bring that up is it's just a matter of time before some corporate type decides they want to for sure have a Genesis plot in Axie Infinity, and you know, I don't know when that happens or how soon that happens or in relation to land. I mean,
Well, one thing that I wanted to note is that the Luna landing brigade or the commission has you know, it has approached me, and one thing that I want to note too is right that is that the Luna land, right, is something that we don't really know much about, but we knew this is what we do know, right? There are like 10 people who own it. You could get it by owning every single item from the land sale before the land marketplace went live.
Right.
We know that the plots are in the, you know, in the area, the red area that's owned by Sky Mavis. So Sky Mavis and those 10 people are the, you know, people or the entities that own land in the middle of the map. What else do we know? We know that, you know, likely, like, you know, if we want to attract like a huge brand into the Axie universe, right? You know, giving them some Luna land or having them purchase some Luna land, like that could be an option. So yeah, I just also want to put that out there. Because
in case any big
landing
corporations are listening to Axie Chat and want to talk with Jiho about acquiring a Luna's Landing plot. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's for sale. I'm just saying that, yeah, like that's the land in the middle, the Luna land. I mean, obviously the Genesis plots are also, you know, bordering the middle. There's kind of like the gates, right?
Yeah, no, it's so exciting. I mean, Trung basically said those are initially going to be basically like the pink resource nodes until something else is kind of determined with respect to those plots. So yeah, who knows? Alrighty, cool. Awesome stuff to come. Just wanted to quickly go through the item floors. Doing good. Increased over the item floors from 2 weeks ago when we last hit this, and so everything's going in the right direction. Not surprising at all. Actually, you notice the epic floor went down a little bit, which is kind of a surprise, but the rare floor coming up does not surprise me because the rare bonuses are really, really good. Again, the question is, I think, comes down to utility versus rarity, and that's a big question just kind of across the board, right? And so the bonuses look really good for rares, but there's actually more rares than there are commons because of the way Forest had so many rares that were rolled with the Forest plots.
Right.
So, you know, is the play for item scarcity or utility? Based on what I've read, it seems like it's going to be utility. Maybe some scarcity at the mystic level, maybe some at the epic level. I mean, they are incredible bonuses, and the epic has about 50% more utility than the rares. So, I mean, epics definitely are better than the rares. So,
Jiho, a question that keeps coming up, and again, I don't know if you can answer this, is whether or not the items that were rolled in the initial land sale chests will be able to be recrafted from resources in land gameplay.
I don't think so. That wouldn't really make sense.
You heard it.
Yeah, and I agree that doesn't make sense, and I hope that what Jiho just
you
said
also
there...
saw, right? Like you saw, and I mean, think of that crafting tree. Like that would be really difficult.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, you saw that, you know, there's the buildings, the items that can be created, right, or kind of like either decorations or resource harvesting related things.
And that makes sense without like blueprints, right? Yeah. Without having some sort of blueprint for either a structure or some more advanced land item. Yeah. Wow. I mean, that's actually kind of a huge potential leak. I know we're not going to hold you to it, but that's gigantic. Like, yeah. Okay.
No, everything that happens on Axie Chat stays on Axie Chat. Nobody needs to know. Nobody tells Psycho.
Definitely don't tell Trung. Trung
Don't
doesn't
tell
even
Trung.
know that Axie Chat exists, right? Okay.
I mean, he's only been on it twice, so that was in the same episode.
That was so funny, yeah. All right, let's talk about the Axie floors. So Axie floors have actually, well, just the normal Axies that's gone up, and again, probably relates to gas and how difficult it is to acquire Axies just because of the cost, the gas transaction fees. Origins have risen. I've been paying pretty close attention to the origin market. It does seem to be going up, and I'm pretty sure that origin that shows at 1 ETH is not a wrappable. It's not a WOA eligible origin. The first
Right.
WOA eligible origin, I think, is 0.11 or 115 or even maybe 0.1 or 1.2. I'm saying that wrong. I'm a little tired. Enjoi and and I was trying to support Enjoi in his degen ways last night, so we didn't get a whole lot of sleep. Anyway, so Origin, Mystic, that actually has gone down just a little bit. So if anybody's looking at a Mystic, it might be good. I mean, maybe Ben will decide to drop a whole bunch more 3 Ethereum Mystics on us. That would be something I would look forward to. Double Mystic is kind of retreated a little bit too, but I mean, still, man, hard to acquire a Double Mystic. Is that BEP's? I can't remember who owns that one, but that's a cool one.
I made a lot of ETH on hash masks or something randomly.
Yeah,
So
that's
you know,
right.
if anyone is dumping mystics, like you know, I can play. You know, I can do the cleanup duty. I obviously prefer new mystic owners to get them. So.
Yeah. Be careful. Geo has some hash mask money.
Right, so this is basically another thing that Or and I have noticed. Or is now a thought leader within the Axie community, by the way. So this is one thing that Or and I have noticed is like, okay, like, you know, there's these new NFT projects, like Axie community members are typically like, you know, pretty early to getting in on them and have like fairly good judgment on, you know, which ones are good. And yeah, so they're able to, you know, earn in these, you know, newer projects and then funnel those project profits back into the Axie ecosystem, whether that's through Axis or some of the rare Axie assets. So I think that's an interesting, you know, kind of discovery.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's interesting because I think you and, you know, some of the partnerships that Axie's done over the years has helped almost train people how to look at some of these projects. You know, you've done a lot of
This is, you know, this is about like financial literacy. It's about blockchain literacy, right? It's
right.
like, you know, it's a lot more. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, you know, that's how I got into, yeah, this, you know, it's like I think Axie is a portal to the broader blockchain ecosystem. It's not just like, okay, you get in, you learn about Axie, and you're here for, you know, you're here only learning about Axie, only doing Axie stuff, right? It's like, you know, you can learn about DeFi, you can learn about art, you can learn about all these other blockchain use cases, so that you have a balanced understanding of everything. And you know, we're gonna like in the future, it's like everyone is gonna be like a Renaissance man or woman, right? Where you have all these different things that you can, you know, do, because we're not going to need to like work at our like, you know, normal boring jobs, right? So then we'll have like four different kind of hobbies or you know, trades that or profession. There is, yeah, kind of like sub paths that or side quests even that we go on.
Oh man. Awesome. Okay, well, there has been some news. We're going to stay kind of light on this, but hey, Discord server hit 30,000 members. We have the absolute best mods, you know, DW and, of course, Odin, just kicking butt. Man, it's so amazing what they do for our Discord. And our Discord is just such an amazing community. Absolutely love the space that it is. Everybody who's involved with it, you know, please respect it. very, very important that our Discord remain a friendly, helpful place, and treat it right, everyone. But so cool, 30,000 members. Wow. I mean, how many? I don't know how many Discords can boast that many members. There can't be too many. I mean, I'm sure there's some big, huge gaming communities, but wow, 30,000 is a lot of folks.
Yeah, this is the biggest blockchain gaming Discord. So I mean, let's be honest, right? Like there are some projects that are having success in the NFT space with collectibles, with art, right? But in terms of gaming, Axie is the only project that's innovating and growing and actually doing it right. So yeah, it's not a competition, it's not a contest, it's certainly not a fair one. So yeah, like I think that's the bottom line. We have 30,000 people in this Discord. We were at 10,000 a couple of months ago. So yeah, we're really going parabolic. There are a lot of people who come in and they just hang out in the Discord waiting for the day that it's time for them to start playing. Everyone has different. Everyone has different. Different set of conditions that will allow them to reach their full potential by joining by joining the Axie ecosystem as a kind of full player. So yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, our mods are doing an amazing job. Odin has really been stepping it up as a leader. So we have a new, if you guys want to, if you guys noticed, we have a new rules section that Odin helped put together. We also now have a dedicated support category so that those things are a little bit more recognizable and don't get lost and clutter the main town hall channel. So yeah, I think the Discord is like one of my favorite places on earth. I think of it as a physical location, and it's really important to me.
Yeah, for sure. And again, Odin does say he thinks that we may be in the top 10 of Discord server sizes.
That's insane.
That's just so cool.
For top 10 for what?
He just said top 10. Period. Well, no, I would say it's crypto space. I guess crypto space is the whole,
which is still freaking awesome.
Yeah, amazing.
And I started, I think, 2 years ago, and there were 700 members. Think about that kind of growth over 2 years. When I first jumped in, it felt like a small town. There were a couple people who posted all the time, and it was daunting to step your foot in, right? Because everybody knew each other so well, and it was like, do they want to hear another voice? And now it feels like a city where everybody's trying to help each other out. It's really cool to see how it's grown and evolved over that amount of time. And the same thing's going to happen once we finally step foot into land, just like Jiho was talking about. These people coming together in these communities and working towards a common goal. We're already doing that. We don't need the game to be working towards a common goal and building together. We're already doing that, but I think it's promising for what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah, and again, I just wanted to point this out because it is a lot of hard work, and there are tons more people that are doing tons of work. I don't mean to single anybody out, but Odin and DW, thank you. Okay.
Not to name names, but Odin and DW.
Well, I mean, they're the main mods. They're the ones that are telling us all what to do, right? Just kidding. Anyway, I'm tired. Like my mind's like only going at half speed today. So, I absolutely love this. Again, we kind of already talked about it, Jiho, but you posted. Well, Axie Infinity posted this about the growth in weekly average users and how there's still explosive growth happening. Kind of what you said is, I think there's a lot of people that are coming to our Discord waiting for their onboarding qualifications to hit so that they can start, and that's kind of why I'm wondering about Axie price really significantly dipping, because I just feel like there's going to be a rush to join and play Axie Infinity once it's more accessible and available. And hey, on that, it says, I know that it said in the kind of initial release of Ronin that it talked about that the wallet's going to support kind of fiat onboarding, I assume credit cards or whatever. That is still the plan, right? I mean, that's part of the final implementation of the Ronin wallet. Is that
Oh
right?
yeah, of course. I mean, that's a necessity. So basically, there are a couple of different solutions. Um, they're kind of becoming commoditized, where they're all getting good. And it really makes the thing that makes the difference is like the personal relationship that you have with them. It's like and also what discounts they give you. Like do they recognize that Axie is the #1 blockchain game, and does their negotiation process reflect that? So yeah. So basically, I'm talking to a couple of different options right now. And one thing that I know is that I don't want it to be like very restrictive. Right. So for example, certain flows, certain like onboarding flows and off-ramping flows are very restrictive. Because and that actually that restrictiveness actually comes from the fiat provider.
Interesting.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. Like, I think the way that we win is by being like more aggressive, like more, right, like not being like so restrictive to our users,
right?
Like
more free market, more open. Yeah.
I mean,
it's kind of like Binance versus Coinbase, right? Like Binance can be more aggressive because they're not in the U.S. and Coinbase is very conservative because they're in the U.S.
Right.
But Binance is much bigger than Coinbase. So.
Yeah. One thing on that, and I think it was in the chat, and I've wondered it too, is are there discussions? Is Axis going to be purchasable directly on Coinbase at some point? Has that conversation come up at all?
I mean, that's not something that I'd be able to say on Axie Chat.
Wow,
probably like,
that was
the thing I'd most not be able to talk about on Axie
dude,
Chat.
we would immediately see a $3 bump in price.
Okay, wow.
So
that was not the reaction.
Lady Ranivore says, "I would buy so much more if I had better access to Axis. What if you can't buy crypto in your country, guys, like Morocco?"
Well, yeah, I mean, like in the
I
US,
know there are Axie players in Morocco, so I'm sure that you can find a way. Like, look up like OTC providers in Morocco, and then later Ranivore, where are you that you need better access? I mean, Uniswap and SushiSwap are accessible to anyone, anywhere in the world. The gas prices are a little bit high right now, of course.
No, I just I just wondered it would be cool to avoid all the feeds and just be able to stack Axis directly for US players, but yeah. Okay. I love this.
Yeah. So basically, being able to buy Axis directly from the Ronin wallet, right? That'll be cool. However, the problem is like, where does that come from? Right? Like, there's gonna have to be some fee because it's gonna need to come from somewhere. Does that make sense? Like,
oh, of course.
Sure, but then you get our Uniswap clone on Ronin.
The only way to actually make it feeless is for the The only way to actually make it feeless is for the Axie team kind of to be selling it directly. Maybe in the future, like the treasury could allocate some access to that. If it's a possibility, right? The thing is, like, right, it's like you have to there for every buyer there's a seller, and like the Sky Mavis team, we don't sell. We don't want to sell. We don't sell access, right? So.
Right.
But it would make sense inside of the community treasury if there's a fee that's attached to it. I mean, it'd have to be thought through for sure. Hey, just so you guys know, Ronin happened. In case you missed the news.
In case you missed that.
and Ronin's working dang good. I like it. I don't know exactly how. Do you know what the free transactions, how those work? Is that a daily amount of 100, or is that a daily amount and that just stacks up toward a max?
I have literally been trying to ask that this whole episode, and you guys keep moving on to the next topic.
Well, hey, I did it.
So what's the question?
You have your
question again.
We have currently 100 free transactions with Ronin. I noticed that it just reset after like 2 weeks. I was running low. How frequently does that reset? What are the rules around
It
those
should be
100
like
free
100 per
transactions?
day. I think it's 100 per day, but we'll experiment with different models, right? I mean, if you guys, if there's a Ronin token and you guys have Ronin tokens, then you might want there to be an actual fee, right? So, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay.
No, it's definitely not per day
It
right
might be
now.
one
I think
cent,
I
fraction
think
of a
I
cent, right?
I think I
Might
was
be a
down under
fraction of a
10
cent.
I think I was down under 10 transactions for like probably 2 or 3 weeks. So, or whenever
Yeah, I
this
mean,
was
right
launched.
now, right? It's like right now you're not making a lot of transactions because phase two isn't here. Like the transaction heavy load is, what's coming. So, and also, right, it's like, okay, when we have a Dex on Ronin, different other things start to run up.
All right. Had to do a shout out to Ed on this one just because I'm kind of a fan of literature. So this was a cool Axie story that was put into an NFT. We won't talk a ton about it, but Ed, awesome. Okay, so
Shout out to Ed too for he joined the OpenSea team. It seems like every week Axie family is joining different crypto space projects, and it feels like we're taking over the world. It feels like we've got somebody on almost every project at this point. So it's pretty cool. But congrats on getting that job.
yeah, I didn't even see that. So yeah, congrats, Ed. That's so cool. All right, so let's talk through rare Axies real quick. Agamogenesis, most rare, right? There isn't anything more rare than Agamogenesis Axies. There's only 3 of them.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, you're good, Enjoi. This is your turn to talk.
This is my turn. So last week we were talking a lot about land and kind of the rarity and what we expect for it, and obviously we learned a lot more about it this week. But one of the things that I feel is continuously overlooked is some of these rare Axies, and that extends all the way down to Origins and Mystics. We're seeing this increase in attention to especially rare NFTs in the space. We've been seeing it with punks. We've been seeing it with NBA Top Shots. We've been seeing it with art recently. With the whole Beeple B20. That's what Jiho was referencing earlier when he mentioned that Christie's was picking up an auction. It's the first auction of digital art ever, so it's big news. But the point is a lot of attention keeps flowing into space, and it feels like some of Axie's rarest stuff is flying under the radar. Obviously we've had some nice Mystic seasons. The Mystic floor and the double Mystic floor and the triple and quad Mystic floors are all doing great. But there's still some stuff being missed here. And when we see, again, I'm pointing stuff out that we're seeing across the ecosystem because I think it relates directly to, what we've got in Axie, or what we can potentially expect in the future in Axie. You got to remember a lot of this stuff currently has zero utility, except for Axie. So when we see, alien CryptoPunks, of which there are, 1 out of 9 selling for $762,000, it kind of makes you think. Now, CryptoPunks are the first NFT project, so there's a little bit of, I don't know.
I have something to say.
Yeah.
I have something to say. Nobody remembers the first electric car, right? What people want is the first Tesla. So my broader point is it doesn't matter what is the first NFT, to be honest. It matters what's the first NFT that everyone in the world knows about. What's the first, right? It's like what's the Axie is also the first blockchain game, I would say. It's right now it's basically the only blockchain game. And what I'll also say is that it matters, like in the long term, it matters what what gets to 1 million users first, what gets to 10 million users first.
Sure.
Right. I really think that that's the most important thing.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with all of that, and this is why I'm trying to point this out, because we've got these very rare assets. You know, rarity is equivalent across different projects, or not equivalent, but you know, it holds the same benefits. So when we're looking at, you know, artworks, you know, the utility is it looks good. It looks good on your wall and makes you feel a certain way, and you know, maybe there's you know, there's a you can brag about it to your friends. There's some sort of social proof associated with it. Same with all of these rare NFTs. You know, same with the punks. But you know, when we see, again, going back to that ultra rare alien, as CoinDesk labeled it, sold for $762,000. You know, we had the Danny purchase you know, he sold his rare Genesis land for $1.5 million. We keep seeing these large valuations. We've seen, you know, triple and quad mystic selling for, you know, easy, you know, 300, 250 ETH prices. But again, now the heat keeps picking up in this market, and for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, but some of these rare Axies are flying under the radar. So, you know, one of the interesting thing I think about these Agamo Genesis Axies, and we'll talk about a few different things, is, you know, there's only 3 of them. They were the first part for, you know, you can see it on here. You know, they're differently colored. There's a lot of interesting things about them. But you know, 2 of them are currently sharded. With Niftex, and the current valuations are, I think, way under what some of these other projects are valuing things that are less rare. And again, you know, Axies have this utility. They've got this added bonus, in addition to being beautiful, in addition to, you know, being interesting and something that you can hold in your wallet and use as social proof once people are walking around in their land. But if you look at Niftex prices currently, you know, you're looking at $177,000 for these shards, and you can buy these things up as all, you know, similarly to how you'd buy shards in Tesla, or a stock of Tesla, or something like that. So it you know, I don't really know if I've got any point to this, other than some of these rare things, you can own these things. You can hold part in them, and I think SBD, Small Brown Doge, who we've had on here before, as you know, mimicking a potato. He owns the last one. He's got it listed for like 12,000 ETH or something. I don't see him lowering that ever. You know, it's just one of these things that as the game gains traction and gains users and eventually hits, you know, 1 million plus players, this is going to be such a status symbol. I don't know. Again, I don't know where I'm going with that. Baronar, Jiho, feel free to jump in.
One of the issues is that there's not enough liquidity on the shards. But you know, one thing that I'll drop some alpha. One thing that I don't think people are talking about, and some people are going to be kicking themselves over, is, you know, Niftex announced that they're going to have a token. It's going to be a retroactive drop. Right. So I don't know if they, you know, defined in the parameters like who's going to get the token, but it makes a lot of sense that Uniswap, the shard liquidity providers for Uniswap liquidity for those shards, like, are probably a great candidate, as well as like shard holders. So, you know, I'm not going to promise anything or whatever, but, you know, I would just, you know, highlight and take a look at that article. And, you know, X-Human is also, I believe, you know, will be joining that team in a matter of days or weeks. So yeah, so that's a little stone to uncover. You know, I personally don't have time to, like, you know, go down all these paths of inquiry, but, you know, I can put them out into the world and
Sure.
and see what happens. I also, with that, I do need to go. My wife has made me breakfast, and I want to kind of go eat it.
No worries, man.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Enjoy.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Balinor. I'm calling you Balinor from now on. An amazing tweet that I saw. Balinor, thanks for having me on. Yeah, much love. Always a really fun time to stop by. And yeah,
Great to have you.
thanks to the Axie community for tuning in. I'll catch you guys later.
Thanks,
See you,
Jiho.
man.
Great, man.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and switch it to...
Whoa, I am
Yeah, I'll fix
big.
you.
Just make me the whole screen. Let's
go ahead and talk about Mystics while I fix your
Well,
side.
you know what? As he was talking about Niftex potentially adding a token in the future, it reminded me of one more thing I wanted to add there. Again, I'm trying to uncover some value for the community here, and also explain. I think one of the reasons we're all here with NFTs is the value of true ownership, right? So being able to own a piece of one of those is huge. Being able to get some profit is huge. Another thing that Niftex recently announced is a change to their claim, which should make it a lot easier for someone to buy out one of those Agamogenesis Axies. And what we keep seeing across the industry is that these major whales, collectors, whatever you want to call them, are coming through and they're buying the rarest thing possible.
Right.
So I think it's only a matter of time before somebody, realizes that these things are currently sharded and puts an offer in. And basically how that works currently is, if an offer goes out, the current shard holders have to put a counter offer if they don't want to accept it. So there's a certain amount of time, and it's a big improvement over how it worked before. But if we're looking at those prices, 120,000 versus what we're seeing in the other, some of these other places, 762 for one of those punks. Again, with all this added utility, I think that there's still a lot of room for growth there and a potential buyout in the future. Definitely a lot easier for one of those to get bought out than to shake one out of Small Brown Doge's hands. I see Coco in chat saying buy Mystics, thank me later, and Origins. I'm not sure if he's pumping his own bags or what, but again, I agree with this. And thanks for pulling these numbers up here. We've got Quad Mystics which are just as rare as Agamogenesis, and honestly, I don't know if it feels a lot to me like they've got more utility. Those have all sold, and I don't know if they'll come on the market anytime soon. Am I right in that? Or they're currently off the market, right?
Right, yeah.
Nobody's listed one without
I think Galadriel was listed for a while, but she's gone now too. I think she got pulled off.
I think Small Brown Doge has one up for like $2.8 million. So again, he's not looking to part with that thing, and probably would raise the price if he got a whiff of somebody looking to buy it.
Yeah.
Again, all of these are incredibly rare if we compare them to what else is going on in the crypto sphere. If you look at punks, and again, we know what their prices are going for. Their floor is currently like at 60. There's 10,000 of them. If you're just looking at Origins, you're looking at 4,000. If you're just looking at Mystics, you're looking at less than 1,500. The rarity dynamic in comparison is freaking huge. Never mind double Mystics, never mind triple Mystics, and again, every single Mystic part your Axie has increases its utility. It makes it one more part more special. I keep going down these rabbit holes of trains of thought and losing where I'm going, but I don't know. Anything you want to add there?
Well,
anything I'm missing?
No, I don't think you're missing anything at all. I do think though that a lot of this comes down to just plain rarity. There's and I think maybe it's the next one. I'll pull it up since it is the next one. That there's only going to possibly be 4,088 total origins. And every Mystic Axie is an Origin Axie. Not every Origin Axie is a Mystic Axie. And I think it's just good to remember, like, Origin Axies have this ultra rare feature to them as well. They have to be rolled from Axie Origin coins. And, there's still the possibility, at least when I pulled the information from this article, that there would be 275 origins that could still be rolled. There's great information about the possibilities of whether those will be mystics or not. Even just having a single mystic, I think, is about a quarter. There's only about a 25% chance that you're going to roll a single mystic, and it just gets more and more difficult to roll something super rare. And it just so it's on the podcast, because I know you were just kidding around about Coco pumping, and that's not Coco. Coco does things that are good for the total
No,
economy.
I was completely kidding
No,
around,
I
and
know
if
you
you looked
were.
in chat, I took that back. I don't want
Yeah.
he's probably been one of the greatest assets to
Oh, yes.
to Mystic. I don't know, value appreciation, and I'm talking appreciation like I appreciate it, not
Yeah.
the rise in value.
Well, both
Um,
too, but because
yeah,
he's helped us build something that's real. And
sure,
again, like a little Coco love fest here. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And again, like he recognized early, and I don't know that I've fully recognized this, but 4,088 is a real scarce number.
yeah,
It's truly scarce, and the scarcity does drive a lot of the value, but when you combine it with what you were saying, Enjoi, about utility, it becomes even better. You have scarcity plus utility, and then
right.
suddenly they're more important. And I don't know, but I just have this feeling like if we're having a kingdom battle game, the true lords and barons and knights and the ones that really can swing things in this fictional Axie critter battle, that seems to be the origins are going to have a leg up, and the mystics are going to have, they're going to be the ones with the lance +6 or whatever the
Dude, we just got so nerdy. Sorry, guys, if you just lost us.
yeah,
I
yeah.
completely agree with you, though. Um,
but I mean that's just gets me so excited thinking about that type of stuff, and then adding that into the potential utility just gets absolutely huge. You yeah, so cool.
Yeah, I'll
So
just throw out going back to Coco and potential
yeah,
valuations. He
yeah.
wrote in chat, screenshot this. Origins will be over the punk floor in less than a year. I fully back that statement. This is not financial advice, but I think it's inevitable. Math never lies, and
I just
utility never lies.
correct. I just think that as things become implemented and they show that they have significant utility in addition to rarity, how can they not outperform, punks? So yeah, awesome. So there's also some other classes of rarity, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna try my best not to ignore any of them. We might ignore just some very very strange unique ones, but here we have the MEOs. And the MEOs, or however you want to say them, we have the first phase of MEOs, and then we had MEO2, and it sounds like we're going to have MEOs into the future. There's been some discussion as to whether we're going to keep having different phases, and if they're going to be identified simply just as MEO, or if it's going to be MEO, MEO2, MEO3. And I don't know that that's been fully decided, but what we have right now is the original MEOs and then MEO2. And you can kind of tell by the floor prices here that people tend to gravitate toward the MEOs as far as value. The good thing about these two and all the origins is, remember, they don't take any small love potions in order to breed. So
yep. And in case anybody's wondering what MEO stands for, early Axie invention. It stands for Monster Engineering Operations Corporation. Um,
yeah,
these were created to launch new parts, essentially. So each Axie has 6 parts. When things get stale, the team may or may not introduce another part, into the breeding dynamic. So it's very possible that they add a MEO3 at some point in the future. I think they've alluded to it a few times.
yeah.
It's a nice tag. We don't know if they're going to get any utility. but they do, because they're tagged, have some sort of a specific, number associated with them. They're you can count how many there are,
Yeah.
and once they close that up, there's never going to be any more.
Right, and so it does have a rarity. It does have a tag.
Right.
I presume that should equate to some utility as well. I
Yep.
mean, I don't know that for sure. But another thing, oh shoot, we were talking about MEOs. We're talking about I would kind of suspect that MEO3 comes out with the community treasury being in effect, because it seems like a good way for the community treasury to gain some funds as well, right?
That makes sense. I've also thought potentially with version 2, they mentioned that there,
Oh yeah.
maybe different ways to utilize classes. So and we still have an issue where, the rare classes don't really have any specific utility. They don't have any way to really stand out. So it's very possible that, they throw in something else to make that type of class stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Christmas parts, and actually, I think these are kind of the dark horse valuation wise. I think that
Yeah.
there's extreme rarity here. I mean, like extreme rarity. And I've made it a point of acquiring a few fuzzy bodies, and some of them that have some of these Christmas parts, because I wasn't. I missed the 2019 just by a little bit. I got in a few months, or a month or so after it had closed. People were still kind of talking about it when I first joined the community. But then there's also all of the Christmas parts from the 2018 Christmas breeding event, and so I think there. I don't know. I think AK said something in chat about how like there may be only one that looks kind of like this guy that has all of the Christmas parts. Is that right? Or do you know?
Uh, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, the more of these parts you're going to have, the more rare. Okay, AK says
One Frosty 6 out of 6. One non-Frosty six
six
out
out
of
of six.
six.
So I mean, those are
Interesting.
those are extremely rare.
Yep.
Frosty bodies themselves, there's only 505 of those. So again, when you think about that, and again, what do you think? Do you think that these are donezo and not ever coming back, or do you think it's
Yeah,
possible?
they've stated they're never going to launch these parts again. These were specific to these breeding
Oh
events.
dear.
So there was a 2018 breeding event and a 2019 is.
Yeah,
Do I have that right?
2018, 2019.
Um,
Yep.
Yep. So if you're looking at the screen on the right here, all of those were from the 2018 breeding event. All the ones on the right or the left were 2019 breeding event. Yeah, these are never coming back. I think one of the important things, so the 2019, you'll notice that there's a lot more there, and it's because there were a lot more members. Again, there were about 700 people in the Discord when I started, and this launched right afterwards. So you really only had, a handful of real players who were breeding like crazy to make these things happen. Um,
Yeah, but there's a lot of
the,
them that have multiple parts. So it's not as
yep.
though you can't just add those up and say, oh, there's thousands of Christmas part Axies. I mean, there probably are. I don't know for sure, but
Right.
it's not going to be the
And that was
total.
so that's an important thing is the Frosties, at least the first one, had to have 3 of these specific parts to create the Frosty body. So many of the Frosties have 3 of these things. So if you're looking at the numbers, you've got 413, 488, 500. You're kind of hovering around like the 600 numbers. And part of that's because, remember, there's 500 Frosty bodies, or 500, and what do you say?
505.
505. Um, some have 0 parts, but that's because they were bred together. But the majority have multiple parts. So, you know, these are actually more rare than, well, maybe that's hard to say. But if you think in the grand scheme of things,
They're
where we've
pretty
got over
rare. You just do the numbers.
250,000 Axies, 505 Frosty bodies is extremely rare.
Yeah.
And then you've got things like the 2019, where, the Spruce Spear, super rare, super rare. I think they're, oh my God, I just had it up and I lost it.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
didn't pull those up.
it's I clicked on. Oh my gosh,
I know December Surprise is really rare too. Yeah. Anyway, uh,
they're all really rare.
everybody that's listening in on this chat, you're Axie enthusiasts. You're paying attention to what's going on in the Axie space.
There's 40 of them. Sorry.
Yeah, 40 spruce spears. Wow.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess we're kind of pointing out specifically some, kind of dark horse rare Axies. if you're interested in trying to play that rarity play.
Yep.
Hey, man, feels good. February. Still feel good.
It still feels good. I'm wondering if we're gonna get anything else. I think Jiho hopping in here. Um, well, I mean, he leaked a lot. We got a lot
Yeah,
of
he
new
did.
news.
He
I'm
did.
more excited about land. Honestly, I don't care if they give us anything else this month.
Yeah.
Um, we've definitely got enough to look forward to. And again, I've been waiting so long. As much as I'm ready for land, it's just nice to have a little bit more information. And
Yeah.
I love that they're heading in that community oriented direction.
Yeah, yeah. I love that too. I love that idea of cooperative play. I also love the idea of player versus player play. Like Guild Wars or Clan Wars or
Yeah.
however that ends up working out. But yeah, I do know that there's a great sense of community. I do know that it's kind of fun to test yourself depending on how the stakes are, how the stakes are set up. But even with high stakes, it can be a lot of fun to have that competitive spirit. So I'm excited to see if that's the direction it goes, how that gets implemented. It sounds like a great time to me. That's exactly the sort of game that I really like. So I guess we'll see how that goes. Great to have Jiho. So very thankful that he wanted to join us today and gave us some insights, some pretty incredible insights too. Um, and fun to go through all the rare Axies and just kind of see what's there for us. Um,
So Baronar, where are we heading? Where are we going?
we're going to
I
the
know you got a
moon,
slide for it.
baby.
Don't.
I pulled that one this week.
Oh
It's
my
so
God.
funny that you
I'm
said
trying
that.
to read your mind. I can't take it. We're going to the
It's where
moon, the blood moon.
our I think our minds are just so tired that we're
We got to stop degenerating. I keep trying to double or triple up so I can throw back into Axie. It's hard to
no,
do,
yeah,
man.
everybody should degen so they can just bring the ETH back into Axie Infinity for sure. So yeah, I mean, again, I think you kind of made this point pretty clearly. When we go through the marketplace, it's just I like that Odin Moon
I like
March.
that too.
So
Moon March.
yeah, I especially with land, like I I don't know. I know that both of us have some things listed as far as land goes. Neither one of us have them at very aggressive pricing because we're not super excited to sell things. But it just seems to me like the second that land hits, that there's a there's just a tempest, a whirlwind of interest in land. And again, I not financial advice. Do your own research. Don't be dumb. Um, I just buying it after it's all the excitement's happened. You're not going to get it at prices that you're going to be excited for. So, I mean, it may be just great. It may be fine, but getting it early is going to serve you better. But
Yeah, I meant to move my prices up just because of all the attention the space has been getting. The marketplace has been moving a lot more recently. And like you said, I've got stuff listed just because if somebody wants to buy it, and it's at a price I'm comfortable with, I can come back in and buy some more, or move it to Access and diversify a little bit, or whatever.
right,
Um, but I I ran out of Ronin credits, the free
that's funny.
transactions. So I got those back today, so you guys will see me shifting a little bit, I
Changing
think.
things. Well, yeah.
Hmm.
Well, cool, man. It's been a fun time, kind of a more casual Axie chat this week. Hope everybody had a great time. Sure, appreciate everyone joining the stream and listening to the podcast and hanging out on the replays. Hopefully, we'll be a little bit more awake next week. But it sure has been a great time. Yeah. Hey, and as Britt said, hey everybody out there, Axie hard, right? Axie
Axie
hard.
hard.
Okay.
All right. Take care,
Have
guys.
have a great day in
See you next
Nanasi,
week.
everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Oh yeah, I forgot the song. I was supposed to sing something. Next week. Thanks for reminding me, lady. Okay, see y'all.